Do you care about art? Do I care about art? Yeah. This is MaddK Studio. I'm Ken Madden, an artist and designer that's built a life on drawing stuff. I know you're going to like this show. I need you to like it and share it. So let's see what we're going to talk about. Welcome to episode 1. Number 1, the first one. So I suppose I should probably explain kind of what this episode is going to be about. To start out, it'll be the general topic is going to be art and artwork. But that's not going to be the only thing we talk about. We'll talk about art, design, music, just basically anything creative. So I guess would be a creative show is a better way of thinking about it. But what is art? Art is basically, it's been around forever, of course. It's basically creating something from nature or outside your own brain cell group and being able to show that to somebody else or share it with somebody else in a way they appreciate or understand. And that's a basic, just what I think of it anyway. It's like, here's glasses and here's a drawing of glasses. That kind of thing. So anyway, that's kind of the thoughts of behind, that's my thought process, I should say, behind the show, is just a general show about creative stuff. There's a lot of people out there that are like makers, the whole makerverse and the maker universe and things like that. It's pretty cool. And I've just discovered those over the course of the last year. And I've got some favorites, of course, Vincent Ferrari at Handmade by Vincent Ferrari and Ethan Carter Designs and there's a whole bunch of other ones. And hopefully we'll be able to talk to them later and see what they do and enjoy some of their works. And you can even buy their stuff. I've bought some of their stuff. It's really great. So anyway, that's one thing. So that's just kind of the general topic of it. So there's art. What is art? Everyone thinks oil paintings and what you see in a museum, that kind of thing. Drawing and pastels and watercolors and Vincent van Gogh and the Sistine Chapel and cave art, for crying out loud, starting all out. But that's all art. And that's all inclusive. I've had a career doing some of that stuff. We're also going to talk a little bit about like graphic design. The whole world of graphic design has opened up so wide because of computers and things like that. It's made it very easy for entry to get into graphic design. And I took it when I was in college. From 87 to 92, I went to Minneapolis College of Art and Design. And graphic design is one of the classes you actually had to take if you're in the design course. I went for illustration, actually, is what I planned on doing all my life, was being an illustrator, drawing and painting and things. But graphic design was one of the things I had to take there. I really didn't enjoy it. It was too cut and dry, and we've had I'll probably do a whole show on graphic design and some of the exercises we had to do for there. One of them was just writing the alphabet over and over again in different fonts. I have a whole page of A's. It's like 100 A's, all in different fonts and styles, and with a pen and ink, and had to do, you have to sit there and trace it all out, and then you're like, oh yeah, go over it. What? Yep. And then you went like this. You have to start over because you just smeared all your ink. Anyway, I did not like graphic design. Later in life, I've found that I actually have done quite a bit more of it. I've done it because I've had to, and I'm to the point now where using the computer tools that I didn't have before and I didn't use very much, like Illustrator and the whole Adobe suite of design programs, I really enjoy doing it now. I look forward to it. So that's something we'll talk about. Another thing is why let's back up. I'm back in college. It's 1987, 88. The freshman year, they kind of run you through all kinds of different things. And I discovered industrial design. So industrial design is product design. So everything that you use or touch is designed by somebody. Someone had to design it. And as I love doing the illustrations and things like that, I also like creating things with my hands. I like to sculpt. I like to do all those kind of things. And what was great about the art schools, you get opened up to the school. At Minneapolis College of Art and Design, there was no, I'm not sure what they're like now, it might be the same way, but there was no maths department, there was no languages. There was no, social studies kind of things or like that. You had design methodology and some humanities design theory, and you had art history, of course. You can learn about the masters and study their works, architecture and that kind of thing. But it was 100% immersed in art is what it was, and it was great because you get to learn a bunch of stuff. So industrial design is something I didn't know existed. I didn't even think about it. It's just you have, here's a computer mouse. Why does it look like that? Why does this button like that? Why is the logo right here? Oh, that's graphic design. This is industrial design. Why is this a little bit lower than this side and the wheels in the middle? This is all product design. And this just fascinated me. And it looks a little bit like a car. Not a good car. But anyway, I'm a car guy. What am I going to do? But someone had to design this. And I watched these industrial design students making their models and making these really cool models. And they think about some product and they develop it and they do a rendering of it and they have to do a presentation of it and they have all the. And I was like, that's what I want to do. So I switched majors from illustration to industrial design, and I've been an industrial designer ever since. The beauty of it, it's kind of like if you think about being a race car driver, if you're a race car driver, you're still a driver. So, you're still. If you can drive a race car, you can probably drive a normal car, or you can probably do this kind of racing or that kind of racing, and you'll be strong at one, but you'll be able to do all of them. And product design, industrial design is like that. A lot of people think industrial design. They always ask. The first question is like, so like you do do bridges and stuff, like design bridges, or is it just factories? And industrial designers do design bridges and factories, and they have other names for those people. A lot of times it's architects or engineers, but it's still industrial design. The industrial design I'm talking about is more of the aesthetic industrial design, and everything that you touch, use, anything. Look at whatever you look. Grab some, whatever's in your hand right now. See what that? Just look down at what's in your hand. What is it? All right, an industrial designer designed that. So I just enjoyed that, and I've been striving to be an industrial designer ever since, and I've been able to do it, thankfully. So another thing we'll be talking about is skills. So in my life, because I tried and failed dozens of times at multiple different careers and things to do in this art world, I've picked up a ton of skills. I started out drawing, and when I was little kid. I mean, I've got drawings like this one. I'll try and see if I could show one. And it's I've never stopped. I've always enjoyed it. So I've been a drawer. I've did oil paints, watercolors. I did acrylics once in high school, and I hated it, but I like acrylics now, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But always learning new skills, and I'd find other people that were really good at something I didn't know how to do, like pinstriping. Like, cars pinstriping, the little hoo-has you see on 50s cars and things like that. I watched a guy, and it must have been in the late 70s or early 80s, at the World of Wheels show, and he put a pinstripe down on a truck all the way around from the front of it all the way back to the back of it, and then went like an eighth of an inch underneath that first stripe and put another thin stripe, and it blew me away. That was one of the things I wanted to learn. Well, as my career grew, I was able to learn that thing because I was able to do that. I learned pinstriping when I worked at a place called Wizard Custom Studios. So I got out of college for industrial design, and I got a job at a design firm, which I lost because I just wasn't right for the job. And I was in a blues band, so I was playing live, play drums. So you might have heard the drums at the beginning. That was me, because I'm too cheap to pay for music, so I'm just going to make my own. But I was in a blues band, and I was broke. And then I got a job working for a place called 8-Ball Studios that did, it was a sculptor, Steve Kiwas, amazing, probably the best sculptor I've ever worked with. And he did the original sculptings for toys, for like action figures and stuff like that. And I ended up working with him, just as the grunt kid, learning what I could learn, not doing much sculpting, but I would do castings for him, and I would turn stuff on the lathe and the milling machine, making little armatures. If your arm has to do this, somewhere in here there's a armature with a pin in it, and I'd make that stuff, and he'd put it all together and sculpt it. It was incredible. And then make molds of his parts, and then we'd pour wax in there, and then you finish it, and then I'd make a mold of that and make urethane parts, hard parts, and we'd send those out to be manufactured. But I learned a lot there. I started making like knives and guns and weapons and I was kind of like a little ordnance guy there for a while. And I really enjoyed that, making little pieces this big. It was just like working on model cars again. When I was a kid, I built model cars and I got crazy with those. So that was a new skill. I went from there to working at a place called Wizard Custom Studio that I worked with Bruce Bush there, late Bruce. Rest in peace, Bruce Bush. But he taught me how to weld and do body work and the proper way to do Bondo and build cars. And like I said, I'm a car guy, and this was super cool. I learned it, and I did a T-shirt for him. We did a trade work. He was gonna work on my car, and I did this T-shirt design for him. And we got to be good friends. I worked for him for a few years, and then from there I went on to doing motorcycle parts I design parts, but I also do airbrushing on motorcycles, and that's kind of where I learned it all, was through Wizard. And that was a lot of fun. That was in Minneapolis, and we built a lot of really cool cars, and we got a lot of awards on things that we've done. And Bruce passed away last year, and it was sad to see, but he was definitely a big part of my life. Moving from there, I went to, what did I do right after that? I did some work at painting goalie masks. So I would actually paint goalie masks for Miska Design, which was a fun job. I mean, it's where I really learned to be a production artist, because it was like, and fun fact, the first mask I did, I remember looking at it going, huh, see, look what I can do. Look at this. And he goes, that's good. But and he dips a rag in mineral spirits and wipes off everything I did and says, that's just not going to work for me though. You have to try that again. And no one's ever done that to me before. I'm an artist, man. I've got first place awards at World of Wheels. You don't wipe off my shit. But oops. But he did, and it taught me a lesson that I have a lot to learn, and I better take it down a notch and learn some more stuff. So I did, and I worked for him for a few years and got very good at airbrushing and line work and brush work and things like that. From there, I went to back to the motorcycle world, working for MC Specialties as a product designer. We were developing the McAllister motorcycle, which turned into Norton, which turned into Viper, which then led me to Kuryakin, which is a job that I had for 11 years as one of the lead designers there, designing motorcycle parts and accessories. And that's where I cut my teeth on the corporate world and decided, after many years, that wasn't for me. So in 2014, an opportunity came to me that I took to get together with a few friends. We started our company, Zero, and that's where I work right now. So zero3d.com, go check it out. We sell motorcycle parts and accessories, also Gold Strike. That's my plug for the coolest company in the world. So this channel, though, isn't about all that. It's going to be more about art, design, what's going on in the world, what are you doing, what do you want to learn, and that kind of thing. So part of what I also want to do is interviews. So I have reached out to a bunch of artists and designers that I've known for years, some that I haven't known that are pretty famous, other ones I'm reaching out to trying to find out how to get a hold of them. And we'll do some interviews and talk about, all right, how did you learn, where did you learn, what's the importance of this, what's the importance of that? How can you make a career of this? And for you people that aren't artists and don't have an interest in that, these are just going to be interesting stories and bios of people that hopefully you'll find interesting, because I don't want this just to be a show for artists. I certainly want artists to listen, but I like this to be something that everyone enjoys. And, part of what I do is in growing, I'm learning some new skills, and I'm working with acrylics now. It's a new medium for me, and I really enjoy doing it. You've probably seen some of these horse paintings I've been doing. I've been having a lot of fun with this, and I want to really, really dive deep into that and do more and more and get better and better at it. So that's kind of what I'm doing with the show. This intro part's a little bit longer than it's going to be in most shows because it's the first one, episode 1. Did I mention episode 1? Anyway, this show is going to be about drawing, the skills of drawing, and just being able to sketch and what that means. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to go down to the studio for that a little bit. So I'm going to move the camera and do all that kind of fun stuff. And stick around and hope you enjoy it. Well, guys, we're enough about me. We're down in the studio now, and let's talk about what the show's going to be about today. which we're going to talk about drawing, just plain old drawing. It's been around from, well, how far does it go back? Cave dwellings. I mean, those cave paintings that we saw on the when we were in school and as kids. They say, here's the little cave paintings, little buffalo and a guy with a little spear shooting at it, whatever. But they started with that, and people have been drawing ever since. I mean, you start drawing as a little kid. I mean, the first time little children pick up a pen before they know how to write, they're actually drawing out little things, and here's mommy, there's daddy, there's a house, there's a tree. It doesn't always look like what it is, but they can't spell, but they can create. So drawing is in your DNA, in all of our DNAs. Some people take to it, other people don't, and it's just like anything else and any other talent. I took to it right away. I started drawing when I was really little and never stopped, just like most people, but I kept on going and really enjoy it. So let's, if you think about drawing as a as kind of a foundational thing. So as you're at your foundation of being a human being, you start to draw. It goes across all cultures, creeds, religions, everything. The old saying, drawing a line in the sand. You're still drawing. You're drawing a border. You're drawing a line of definition. That's a drawing of a place where you should not go past. And if you do go past it, things happen. So it's still a drawing if you think about all that thing. So looking at what drawing means and what it can be is pretty interesting to me. So if you think about this, so it's the foundation of communication as you are a toddler. And up through, grade school, you're constantly drawing and things like that in our society. But it really is the foundation of all fine arts. So you think of all the greats. You think of, the back in Greece and in the Roman times and back in the, before the days of Christ even. People were drawing. The pyramids, someone had to have drawn that at some point. The Sistine Chapel, at some point he had to draw that on there. He didn't just lay there on his back and just say, I'm going to paint all this stuff and just have it painted. He had some drawings. He worked on some things. He had some ideas. He had he had a sketch pad. He had something that he started with. If you go to Mount Rushmore, which is one of my favorite places to go, it's a really cool place. And there's a small museum off to the side, and it shows the scale versions of it and the sculptings and whatnot. But all of that started with drawing too. Drawing can evoke so many different, just sketching can evoke so many different emotions and things like that. And recently I had finished the Inktober 2020 challenge, which I'd never heard of before. I guess it's been going on for a long time, but I don't pay much attention to a lot of that stuff. But I wish I did, because it was a lot of fun. What it basically is every day you have to draw something, supposedly in pen and ink. And they give you a word. So there was a list of words, and they gave them to you. And so, I did one every day, and this was one of the ones I did. I showed you this one earlier. It's the hot rod and motorhome. I think the word for this was like massive or something like that. It's just a big, massive beast. But, other words were like rodent. So this is what I did for rodent. And, again, these are so different than anything I otherwise would have done. So as we were talking about earlier in the show about just learning and trying to gain more skills, I've always done drawing and pen and ink, things like this, but really challenging myself by having to do it, number one, every day. I told myself I'm going to do it an hour a day. I'm not going to spend any more than an hour in any of these. And they give you a word, and sometimes it was really easy. I'm like, oh, that's a cool word. That's going to be like rodent. That was a really weird word. And, I thought, well, if you think of a rodent, you think of a little mouse or something. And I thought about, what if it's sitting on a house of cards? Because this is right before the election. So this is it's sitting on a house of cards, up in flames. It's a rodent. Who knows what's going to happen? But another one of the words was blade. So this word was blade. And so, of course, this really has nothing to do with blade other than there's a big old knife sticking out of the thing. But it gave me the opportunity to draw a car I'd have in my mind. and I wanted to draw a hand, so I actually had the hand sticking out the window, and as you can see, there's little flies flying out the back here, so it's kind of interesting. But it's the basis for all art, and it's a fun thing, but you can also, it can connotate different feelings and moods, where like that picture of the mouse on the cards is one thing, that'll make people think one way. This word was outpost. So this, what does outpost mean? Well, to me it was out in the middle of nowhere. I thought of a military installation, but I thought of like Dances with Wolves, that movie from the 90s, where he was out on that outpost and there was like nobody out there but him. And I thought, well, what's a little bit more modern day, and to have it be a military outpost out in the tundra somewhere, and it has the big military truck and the barracks, and that's all, and there's maybe 2 people there, but you don't really know. But all those things can be told with a drawing, just a sketch. Other things is, you think about something that's terrible, a natural disaster. Can't remember what the word was for this. I don't think it was tornado. I think it was storm or something like that. But it's just something I came up with. I thought about driving through. If you've driven the Midwest, and some of you have you driven the Midwest? Maybe you haven't. But as you're driving through the rows of cornfields, as you're going through them, you'll see a row. If you look sideways at it as you're driving by, there's a row that you can see straight down to. So you're looking straight at it like this, and you can see all the way through it. So if this was 2 rows, you can see all the way to the back of the row. And then the next one, you can only see somewhat, and the next one somewhat. But as you're going by, it's a real interesting, it's almost like a cartoon or an animation when you slow it down where you can see each frame, because you're looking through all of these rows at whatever's back at the end of that row. And I wanted to kind of capture that in this drawing here. But again, in an hour, so right here you can see straight down that row, but as they go further, the perspective changes, and then you can't see them. So, again, if you're listening to this on the podcast, that probably doesn't make much sense to you. So go to the YouTube page, MaddK Studio, and check it out there. But other thoughts and feelings. What can you get with it? This was. It was like antique or old or worn out kind of thing. So this was my version of that. It's kind of a sort of an old Packard from the early 30s, late 20s, and kind of chitty banged out before it got fixed. But again, just the thought of it, and you can see it's out in a field, and it's got grass growing around it, and there's shrubs, and there's sun, but it's sad, but yet it's happy. It's had a good life. I don't know. There's a lot of things going on there. But, it's all based on drawing and being able to draw and create things. Think about something that brings you back to your childhood. Well, for me, it was the absolute funnest death machine that was on every playground when I was a kid. And you don't see them anymore because they're super dangerous, which is probably one of the reasons that kids are scared or something now. But remember this? The word was dizzy. And these things were, so for kids today, for all you Generation Z people, you'd get on this and you'd run around the outside and then you'd jump on and spin. And the idea was to get it to go as fast as you could. And the last one to even not throw up or fall off, wins. But they were so much fun. And if you had a dog, the dog would chase you around in these things. It was an awesome time. But again, this is just an idea of this is just a drawing, and I could go on about just a drawing like this and having fun in the playground and talking about the kids I grew up with and whatnot and telling those stories just from one drawing. It's kind of what the show is going to grow into, is just these stories of artwork, what they bring out of you, what they have to offer. Some things are artwork just for the sake of artwork. That's this. So it's just, I'm a tiki fanatic. I love tiki stuff. So I think the word was... coral was the word. So I thought, well, I don't want to draw coral. I have no interest in it. But again, now how can I challenge myself to make something interesting? So what I had done is thought about an octopus behind coral, and working it into putting my tiki guy in there, which I did. So anyway, I've got that one in there. That's another fun one. So fine arts, that's the basis, is drawing. You can get your just sketching for fun and to kind of show some emotion and get some different ideas out and bring some different concepts out to the world. Other things are products. So let's look at this. Is one. It was called the word was shoes. And of course, being a car guy, I didn't think of like on my feet. I thought of brake shoes. So that's what those are. Those are brake shoes from a brake drum brake system, which I'm very, very familiar with. And it was just something I did. So this is product. So this gets you into product design. So you think about it. Someone somewhere back in the 1800s, probably somewhere in the 1860s, 50s, somewhere around there, came up with drum brakes, and basically it was just using these shoes that you'd press against an edge, and they'd stop the vehicle. But again, it all started somewhere. It's a product, and you think about a Victorian house with Victorian elegance and all that. Someone would have had to sit and draw out a bed to make those Victorian canopy beds and things like that. The window that's off to the side here, it's how many panes are in it, how the shape of the windowsill and things like that, and the profile of all that. It was all done by artists, and finally the word was sinking was the word that we were talking about the day I did this one. And again, a lot of the drawings I did were based around automobiles of some sort, because I try to tie everything to that just because it's my thing. But this is sinking, so it's a well, it's pretty obvious what it is. It's a sinking Beetle. But again, that was a car I had in my youth. I had another one. I had a 70 Beetle for a while, and right around the recession time, we ran into some troubles, and I had to sell it. There's one of the cars I wish I kept. You have those cars that you wish you kept? I'd like to know about it, because I've got a bunch of cars, a list of them that I wish I would have kept, and my 70 Volkswagen Beetle was one of them. So in the comments below, or send me an email, I'd love to hear about the car that you let go that you wish you had kept. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be a Plymouth Horizon. It could be I don't know, Dodge Omni. Who knows? But just curious to what you guys think. So that's the gist of kind of what I wanted to talk about today with the show, is just how drawing affects everything. Everything you touch, everything that you're using in your daily life, the cars that drive, the things you write with, your phones, this marker, this pair of scissors. I mean, all of these are shaped a certain way for a certain reason, and it was all done with drawings, and that's just been the basis of it. So that being said, we've got a lot of different shows we can talk about, and I'm pretty excited with it. So think about drawing. Go ahead and get a hold of me. Talk to me in the comments below and tell me your exploits with drawing. Tell me about your kids' exploits with drawing. I love to hear what they're doing. And for now, that's kind of this episode. So we're gonna be doing a lot more. And so thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed what you saw. If you do, be sure to like it and share it. So MaddKstudio.com is my website. Go check out my artwork there and all kinds of different stuff. Ask questions and enjoy it. If you want to purchase artwork, that's the place to do it. I've got some stickers on there that are very inexpensive. It's a great way to get some cool art to put on your garage fridge or whatever, toolbox or notebook, computer, you name it. They're the G-Tiki. Go check out the G-Tiki. Anyway, appreciate you watching. And future plans for this is we've got kind of I'm developing an art course, and I'm seeing if there's any interest in it. So if you want to know what I know, let me know. There'll be links below down here for it, and you can email me at ken@maddkstudio.com. That's MaddK Studio.com. And if you have questions or show ideas or anyone you'd like to talk to, any interviews you'd like to have done, if you want to be in an interview, hell, I'll hit me up. Kind of the sky's the limit here. I don't really have any rules for the show. So thanks for checking it out, and I will see you next time.